Radical Truth is a podcast produced by TBLI Group and hosted by Robert Rubenstein. TBLI is making the financial system work for all. Our podcasts cover the wide range of ESG and impact investing topics. What it is, why is it booming, is it really helping, is impact regenerative in nature, how will climate change impact investments. There will be regular interviews with thought leaders, some known, some not known, but all brilliant, and we will have engaging conversations with all of them. Can we create an economy based upon well-being? Let's make the financial system work for all. This is Radical Truth. Welcome to TBLI Radical Truth. I'm your host, Robert Rubenstein. Here's a number that should stop you cold. Women in senior management and on boards, the people building the companies, running the teams, signing the deals. When they walk out the door, they take on average 1% of the equity with them. 1%. The gender gap we keep arguing about isn't pay, it's ownership. And ownership is where real wealth, real power, and real decision making actually live. My guest today is doing something about it. Michaela Berglund is the CEO of Feminvest and Feminvest Ventures, a Stockholm-based fund and a community of more than 50,000 women investors backing companies that are at least 50% women-owned. Not as a diversity checkbox, not as ESG window dressing, as one of the most mispriced commercial opportunities in finance today. In this conversation, we get into the 1% problem and where it actually comes from. We talk about the capital access gap, what LPs and family offices keep missing when they look at female-founded deal flow and the Nordic model, what it's getting right, and the places it still quietly falls short. If you care about where capital is going next, you need to hear this. This is TBLI Radical Truth. Let's get into it. Good afternoon from our studio in Amsterdam. Today, I'm thrilled to have Michaela Berglund, I hope I got that name correctly, the founder and CEO of Feminvest. For those that are listening, Michaela, who are not familiar with you or Feminvest, I was quite impressed. It's quite a large network of female founders and investors. Tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, what are you trying to achieve, what is your big purpose, and ultimately how those that are listening can help you.
Yeah, it's actually like two things. I would say that I want to build business, I want to earn money, but I also want to impact the world in a positive way. And I identified through my own story, I identified a hole in the financial market that I am filling at the moment by building step by step. And it started out with me working with entrepreneurs. I lived in London for a few years and started my own company and worked with all sorts of industries. And that led me to the financial industry. UK and Sweden are very unique with super active retail environments. So I came back and started to work on IPO processes and so on. And I learned a lot about raising capital. And I realized, because I've always been on the business side, I realized like if you know marketing and sales and financing, you can achieve quite a lot, actually. So I started to work in finance, and in 2017, I heard for the very first time that very little women received funding, less than 1% in Sweden at the time. And we are, prone to tell ourselves or share to the world that we are very equal. But in terms of financing, we haven't been successful in distributing wealth more evenly. So I started investigating why that was. And I started to talk to funds, VC funds, P funds, buyout, real estate, and most fund owners, investment managers, would say that it was a matter of deal flow. They didn't have access to companies. And I was trying to look into like, could it be that that is the case? I've always been interested in financial markets and investing a lot myself. So I started by building an investment network, an investment community. And by educating more women to become better investors, we started to grow and expand across the Nordics, and we grew quite fast. And through that, I realized by having women investors, I realized and I got an immense deal flow because women founders looked at Feminvest as a good option for them if they were looking into fundraising and starting investigating that opportunity. And I thought, because it's like flowers and bees, that entrepreneurs always like to get close to money, and you know this very well, Robert. By the work you do. So we built the community because I thought, if I have the founders, they sent me pitch decks, and I could assess if I commercially thought it was a good idea. But I realized quite fast that to be able to actually do really good investments, you need to know the founders. So I decided to continue to leverage the community model, formalize different community segments, entrepreneurs in one membership, investors in one. And by that, I could actually get to know and follow companies over time. And that led to me setting up the first investment fund. It's a Nuveka fund, Article 8 fund, that is targeting the S and in social because we look at women-owned companies. And when I brought this out
What year was that set up? When did you start that fund?
last year,
Okay.
and when I started talking about this 3 years ago, they said, "Oh, that's going to limit your deal flow so much. That's not
Yeah.
sufficient." I've had 1,700 companies applying to the fund in just over a year, and we've done 6 investments since the summer. 2 companies are on a profitable path. One company was profitable the first year of business, 15% profit margin. And we were the only investor asked to join that company because of that we could contribute with the community. And this is something I believe very strongly in, like the community-based venture capital firm is helping out in sorting out a huge problem that VCs had over the last 10, 15 years. And it's the spray and pray method where you just like put your money in many things without assessing them. And we can assess the companies thoroughly for years before we invest. Some of the companies that I invest in now in the last few months, I've been following since 2018, 2022, and onwards. And I can evaluate when the commercial traction is happening. And that minimizes the risk and actually creates a fast upside. So we had the 2 first investments we did in the summer have received interest on 2.5 and 3x to what we invested in.
Oh, wow.
So
Congrats.
it shows early traction is excellent. So I know what I'm going to do for the next 20 years.
What is the average ticket size of the investments you make?
Good question. So we do we look at the Nordics,
Mm.
and we always invest together with others. It's so important nowadays, especially when there's a money is a scarcity in comparison to 2021, 2022. So we always invest together. We aim to take between 4 and 10% ownership, and that defines the ticket, really. We can invest pre-seed till A round, and if we look at one of the companies, we invested pre-seed at a 32 million valuation, so we invested 3 million and got 10%.
Oh, okay. So quite is that krona? Is that euro? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
dollar?
krona. That's
Okay.
krona. Yeah, so it's
About
divided by half.
300,000 euro.
Exactly. And we got 10%, and now we receive bids on 95 million
Hmm.
in that.
And you don't invest in other funds that focus on, let's say, femtech.
No, we don't. We do our own investments, but can collaborate with other funds that as femtech is a space that